So it's 3:17 in the morning. I know it's 3:17 because I've already checked my phone twice, which means I've already broken the rule about not checking your phone in the middle of the night. And now I'm lying there with the screen brightness burning my retinas, scrolling through something. Think it was an article about perimenopause, which is ironic because that's exactly why I'm awake. I just didn't know it yet. My heart's racing, not in a I've just run up the stairs sort of way, but in a something's wrong and oh God, I don't know what it is type way. My brain's doing that thing where it presents you with every mildly stressful thought I've been saving up. The email I forgot to send, whether I locked the back door, that weird mole on my arm, my pension, all at once, all at 3 a.m. And I remember lying there thinking, what's happened to me? Because this was not me. I was the woman who slept. I was the woman who coped. I was the woman who handled things. And now I was lying in the dark, Googling, am I dying or am I just old? And honestly, the results were not reassuring. If any of that sounds familiar, pull up a chair. We need to talk. I'm Laura. This is the Riviera Menopause podcast. And today we're talking about the moment it all starts to unravel. The 3 a.m. wake up. The anxiety that arrived uninvited, the brain that suddenly can't find words, the body that feels like it belongs to someone else. We're going to talk about what's actually happening, why it feels like everything broke at once, and most importantly, why it's not 50 different separate problems. It's actually one thing. And once you understand what, everything changes. Stay with me. This one matters. So here's what nobody tells you about menopause. It doesn't send a calendar invitation. It doesn't start on a specific Tuesday. It creeps in like a really passive-aggressive house guest who sort of rearranges your furniture while you're at work and then acts surprised when you trip over the coffee table. Most women I speak to, and I speak to a lot of women about this doing what I do, describe the same thing. There was a before and an after. And the line between them wasn't dramatic. It was fuzzy. It wasn't a hot flush in a meeting or a missed period. It was more subtle than that. It was sleep getting worse, the patience getting shorter, the jeans getting tighter, the confidence getting quieter. And each one on its own felt manageable, explainable. Stress probably. Age, maybe. Not enough exercise, too much wine, not enough water, too much coffee. You blame yourself because you're a high-functioning woman who's always been able to fix things by trying harder. So you try harder. You buy the supplement. You download the meditation app. You sign up for the 5 a.m. run club. You do all the things, and it doesn't work. And that, right there, that's the moment where trying harder stops working. That's the moment most women quietly start to panic. And here's what really gets me. You're panicking quietly. You're not telling anyone because you're supposed to be the one who copes. You're the one who holds everything together at work, at home, in the family WhatsApp group. You're not the kind of woman who falls apart, except you're not falling apart. You just don't know that yet. So let me tell you what's actually happening because it's not that complicated. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. We all know it's about the hormones. What does that actually mean? It means that your ovaries are producing less estrogen, they're producing less progesterone, and they're producing less testosterone. These hormones have been quietly running the show for decades. Your sleep, your mood, your energy, your metabolism, your ability to think clearly, your stress response, your skin, your joints, your motivation, your libido, and now they're declining. Not overnight, gradually, unevenly, some days more than others. And this is why there's no reliable blood test for perimenopause, because depending on what day and even what time of day you get tested will decide whether your test result comes back normal or wonky. And because these hormones are involved in so many systems, the effects show up everywhere. Not as one big obvious symptom, but as dozens of smaller ones. All at once, all apparently unrelated, which is why it feels like everything broke at the same time, because in a sense it did. Not because you're broken, but because the one system that is recalibrating is the system that touches everything. Here's where I need to name something that I think will feel really familiar. You notice the sleep's bad, so you try magnesium. That helps for a bit, and now you're exhausted during the day, so you drink more coffee. The coffee pushes your cortisol up, so now your anxiety's worse. You cut the coffee, but your energy crashes. You try to eat better, but you're craving carbs like your life depends on it. You gain weight. You try to exercise more. You're too tired to exercise more, so you feel guilty. Your sleep's worse because now you also feel guilty. And round and round and round it goes. I call this symptom whack-a-mole. Not the sexiest name you're ever going to hear in the world, but there you have it. Just like menopause, it's massively imperfect. So, symptom whack-a-mole. You fix one thing and another thing pops up. You push one mole down and two more appear. And it's exhausting, not just physically, but psychologically. Because every time you think you found the answer, it stops working. And you start to wonder if maybe you're the problem. You are not the problem. The approach is the problem. And I don't mean your approach here. I mean the approach that the entire wellness industry, the internet, your GP, your mate who swears by turmeric lattes, that everyone's been giving you, which is here's a symptom, here's a fix. Brain fog, or omega-3, weight gain, cut carbs, anxiety, meditate, sleep, lavender pillow spray. And each one of those things might help a bit, temporarily. But they're all treating downstream symptoms. They're not addressing what's upstream. They're bailing water out of the boat without fixing the bloody hole. There are nearly 50 known symptoms of menopause, and each fix seems to make one of the other symptoms worse. But what if it's not 50 different problems? So here's the reframe. And this is the thing I wish someone had told me 2 years ago, because it would have saved me a fortune in supplements and a significant amount of 3 a.m. doom scrolling. What if these aren't 50 separate problems? What if the sleep, the weight, the brain fog, the anxiety, the joint pain, the fatigue, the mood swings, the lost libido, the random rage at your husband for breathing too loudly? What if all of that is the downstream effect of a small number of core shifts happening in your body? Because that's what the science actually shows. When your metabolic system destabilizes, when blood sugar becomes volatile because estrogen is no longer regulating insulin the way it used to, you get energy crashes, cravings, weight gain, brain fog, from one shift. When your cortisol rhythm gets disrupted, and it does because progesterone was calming your nervous system and now there's less of it, you get the 3 a.m. wake-ups, the anxiety, the short fuse, the feeling that you can't cope with things you used to handle without thinking. When your muscle mass starts to decline, which it does, faster than before because estrogen was protecting that, your metabolic rate drops, your bones get less support, your insulin sensitivity gets worse, more weight gain, more fatigue, more frustration. When inflammation increases, because estrogen was also keeping that bad boy in check, your joints hurt, your brain gets foggier, your gut gets disrupted, your skin changes. And when all of this happens without anyone explaining it, your identity takes a hit. You stop recognizing yourself. You lose confidence. You wonder who you've become. 5 shifts, dozens of symptoms, one system. I remember the moment I first saw this clearly. I'd been to the GP twice. I bought about 17 different supplements. I tried cutting out sugar, then gluten, then dairy, then fun. Nothing was working because I was treating each symptom like a separate fire. Put out the sleep fire, put out the anxiety fire, put out the weight fire, and I was exhausted from firefighting. And then someone explained it to me the way I've just explained it to you, and I literally sat there and went, it's one fire. One fire, multiple rooms, but one fire. And here's the thing that changes everything. If you address those core shifts, not the symptoms, the shifts, multiple symptoms resolve simultaneously. By magic, by physiology. Because you're no longer bailing water, you're fixing the whole. And that's a completely different way of approaching menopause. And it's the way women approach it here on the Riviera, not here's a supplement for your brain fog, but let's stabilize the systems that are causing the brain fog, the fatigue and the mood swings all at once. It's not a quick fix, but it works properly. And once you understand this, once you can see your experience as one coherent system recalibrating instead of a list of personal failures, everything feels different. Not easy, but navigable. Like someone's finally handed you a map. Okay, your one thing this week. And this is going to sound almost too simple, but stay with me because it matters. Tonight, before you go to bed, I want you to write down 3 symptoms that are affecting your quality of life most right now. Not all of them, just 3. The 3 that make you feel most unlike yourself. Don't fix anything yet. Don't Google anything. Certainly don't buy anything. Just write them down. Notice them. Name them. Because here's what I found. Most women never actually stop to identify exactly what's bothering them the most. It's all just one big fog of everything's a bit rubbish. And when everything's a bit rubbish, you can't do anything about it. When you've named 3 specific things, well, now we can get to work. We're going to come back to that list, so keep it somewhere safe. Listen, if you've been lying awake at 3 a.m. thinking something's wrong with you, nothing is wrong with you. Your body's going through something enormous and nobody gave you a manual for it. This is not your fault. But you're here now. You found this. And next week, we're going to start getting really practical. I'm going to talk about that afternoon crash, the 3 p.m. moment where someone just pulls your plug. And I'm going to give you a single change you can make to your breakfast that most women feel within 3 days. It's that specific. If this episode described your life, then send it to someone who needs it. I guarantee you know at least one woman who's lying awake right now wondering what's happening to her. Send her this. Tell her she's not alone. I'm Laura. This is Riviera Menopause.
For now, I'm signing off with love from Monaco. I'll see you next week.